Well, oh boy. Oh boy is all I got to say to that one. This was a game I expected the Jets to lose because you're starting your third string quarterback. You don't have Garrett Wilson. You don't have Mason Taylor. You don't have Azarie Thomas. You don't have a lot of things. You're on the road. You're playing a 9-4 Jaguars team that is looking like they're going to be a factor in the playoffs at some point. It's not the losing is not the problem. The way they lost, even if you're a tank guy, oh, this helps the tank because it does. Something crazy would have had to have happened for me to really be alarmed. I am alarmed by this game. Not Aaron Glenn's finest hour, but one thing that I think this game did is it gave us clarity. Because one thing that me, Mike Luciano, the Jet Press podcast, and Justin Fried is going to be on in just a little bit. One thing we were struggling with was, are the Jets' defensive struggles part of Steve Wilks being outdated and just a bad defensive coach? Or do they just not have the manpower or the talent to compete with these teams? Or a combination of both? Well, now we know. Now we have our answer. It's Steve Wilks. I get that everybody's banged up. You're playing guys in Quantez Stiggers that are probably better special teamers than cornerbacks. You're playing undrafted free agents, the Clarks, Jordan, and Dean at big positions, and I get all that. You can't look this bad. Not one unit of their defense, even guys that we like the defensive tackles and Jermaine Johnson, not one of them had a good game today. Trevor Lawrence may as well have been Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. Now, granted, he was making some amazing throws, but the lack of competitiveness, and I'm not a fire everybody guy. We didn't even want to fire Robert Saleh after year 4. We're pretty patient with guys like that. Steve Wilks has shown nothing to me to suggest he should keep his job for Week 16 against the New Orleans Saints. Thank you for tuning into the Jet Press podcast. I'm Mike Luciano. Justin Fried will be here in just a little bit. And by just a little bit, I mean exactly right now as he pops in. You know where to find us: Apple, Google, Spotify, Overcast, wherever you get your podcast. We are there. And YouTube. Like the stream. That really helps push us up. Subscribe. That helps push us up. Join our membership and comment a lot in the chat. That really pushes us up. So, Justin, I was going to come on here and talk about Brady Cook having a pretty good first half and then just disintegrating in the second half. I was going to talk about certain defensive players that I think were particularly bad. But the story of this, yeah, even outside of Aaron Glenn, who did not have his finest day after basically 2 months in a row of pretty good coaching, this proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that even though you don't have the horses to have a good defense, Steve Wilks, I think, is the biggest problem right now with this Jets team. I'm not saying they're going to be immediately a great defense next year, but I think immediately, if you get a new linebacker, I think if you get one really good edge rusher, and you get a new coordinator especially, I think just doing that gets you to top half, and the coordinator is the big one. Steve Wilks in this game proved that he should no longer be a coordinator in the NFL. You want to be a defensive line coach or a defensive back coach? Sure. He cannot be a defensive play caller in the NFL. I get that you had undrafted guys in the secondary against a pretty good passing game that's red hot lately. It can't look this bad. It can't.
Yeah, I agree. That's my biggest takeaway from this game. You can't allow 31 points in the first half to this Jags team. A Jags team that is rolling, that, Liam Cohen's done a really good job with his team, and Trevor Lawrence was at his best today. But
I mean, some of those, especially the one where he was circling back and throws to the left-hand side, that might have been the best throw I've seen in weeks.
It was wild. This was
on fire. Yeah, so I got to give Trevor Lawrence credit. 6 touchdowns doesn't happen by accident, but
this was one of the more egregious performances from a Jets defense that we've seen in a long time. It was humiliating. It was embarrassing. The players on the field should probably be embarrassed, and I'm sure they are. And the coaching staff should be embarrassed. And that's not just Steve Wilks. We're going to be really hard on Wilks here, I'm sure, but it reflects on Aaron Glenn as well, and it reflects on the entire coaching staff.
That's maybe 2 weeks in a row where before you're even out of the first quarter, the game's over.
Yeah, like that just can't be happening. You can't be, especially you're starting an undrafted rookie quarterback for the first time in 50 years. This is the first time the Jets had started a undrafted quarterback in 50 years today. Brady Cook making his first career start. You can't allow 31 points in the first half and expect to even be remotely competitive. I would argue the offense did relatively their job in this game. They put up 20 points in a game that, again, you're starting Brady Cook at quarterback. You're starting 3 wide receivers who were not on the roster a few months ago. You're starting Jeremy Ruckert at tight end. this is not a game that I would expect the Jets offense to do well, and they'd be forgiven for struggling. I don't
They
think
did better than both of us thought they would in terms of
Yeah.
points scored.
I don't think the offense was necessarily the problem. There were a couple of drives that I thought Tanner Engstrand pushed all the right buttons. That touchdown drive, the first one, to Adonai Mitchell, I thought that was a really impressive drive. I thought Brady Cook looked good. I thought, just general the offense looked all right. And then you end up in a hole because the defense is just so soft.
I mean, they scored, Jacksonville did, on 7 of their first 8 possessions. 7 of 8. And the one where they didn't, they were at their own 2-yard line.
The linebackers were disgustingly bad.
Oh my God, Quincy, what the hell happened?
As they have been for a lot of this year, but this was one of the worst games we've seen from Quincy Williams. I thought Sherwood had a terrible game. Quantez Stiggers was minced meat out there for most of this game. The safeties were bad. The defensive line was getting just pancaked every single play.
Did they even sack Lawrence once?
No, I think they hit him once, and it was on that play that wild off kilter throw where he's rolling out to his left and throws across his body. I think that's the only play.
And then he still threw a 50-yard in stride dime.
And it's not like the Jets weren't trying to pressure him. They were sending blitzes a lot. I don't know what their blitz rate was specifically in this game, but they were blitzing a lot. Mike, I said this to you in Slack. The Jets entered this game 7th in the NFL in blitz rate. They are 31st ranked in pressure rate on blitzes this year. That's a defensive.
I've never seen that discrepancy like that.
That's a schematic.
Brian Flores at least gets home. Vance Joseph gets home.
If you're going to commit to blitzing as much as the Jets do, you have to get pressure on those blitzes, and they can't. I understand why the Jets would want to blitz, because you look at the personnel on this team. Clearly, they can't create pressure with their front four, which that's a problem in and of itself, because I don't think just on paper this front four should be that bad. Both defensive tackles have played well. Harrison Phillips, obviously not a pass rusher, but he's absolutely been a very good run defender. Juwan Briggs, we just talked about him on the Wednesday show, Mike. He's been one of the best interior pass rushing defensive tackles, in the league over the past month and a half. Will McDonald had 10 sacks last year. Jermaine Johnson was a Pro Bowler and then tore his Achilles. It shouldn't be this bad, right? The defensive line should be able to get pressure. They can't. And so the Jets draw up these blitz packages, the most, non-creative vanilla blitz packages you can imagine. I don't even think this is basic shit, Mike. They don't even stunt when they blitz.
They don't. No.
That is basic stuff. And they still don't do that. They have 2 linebackers who, while they've been very bad this year, Quincy Williams should be a disruptor as a pass rusher. The man is electric. He's a dynamic.
He's
athlete.
Just so easy to manipulate.
He is. But Jamian Sherwood, also a very good athlete. Where are the dynamic blitz packages that are getting these guys, in a one-on-one situation with the quarterback? Maybe they won't make the tackle. They probably won't. It was a couple of times this game where Will McDonald specifically on that Trevor Lawrence touchdown run had
that was terrible.
He had Lawrence dead to rights, missed him in the backfield, and then jogged after the play.
And nobody was even close to Lawrence when he ran.
Embarrassing. And there were times where I was questioning the effort of some of the guys on defense, which, man, look, if you're getting blown out the way that they were, and they were getting belt to ass in the way that they were, I guess I can't blame them, but it still reflects very poorly.
Has there been a bigger offensive play caller, defensive coordinator mismatch this year than Liam Cohen and Steve Wilks?
It was ugly. We saw what this defense can look like, what this scheme looks like when they're put against a really good play caller on Liam Cohen, and it was as ugly as it gets. Yeah, the personnel sucked. Yeah, Quantez Stiggers is not an NFL cornerback, and the fact that he's being asked to play that is a problem with the Jets. Part
of it is Aurier got hurt. That's part of it.
But I will go back to the summer when I was, banging the drum and saying, hey man, Jark Bernard-Commerce is a really good player. And I know he's been waived a couple of times this year.
That's a big hole in your argument.
It's the special teams. That's the reason that he continues to get waived. Bernard-Commerce is a better cornerback than Quantez Stiggers. And if he was out there, I don't think it's as bad as it is today. And I would like to see the Jets bring him back, because he was just waived actually yesterday by the Giants. He's on waivers. The Jets need a corner. Please bring him back. The personnel wasn't good. Isaiah Oliver is not going to be on this team next year. He sucks.
Tony Adams isn't going to be on this team.
No.
Undrafted free agent corners.
Man, listen, you got a Pro Bowl defensive end who, I get it. I'm aware he was 7th alternate and he's coming off an Achilles tear. I get it. You still got a Pro Bowl defensive end. You have a defensive end who just had 10.5 sacks last year. You have 2 good defensive tackles. You have a linebacker who was all pro 2 years ago, and another one who's making $15 million a year. You have a cornerback that you paid $12 million a year to. This is not it's a shorthanded defense, but it's not without talent. They have guys out there that they've invested a lot of assets in, a lot of resources in. They should not be giving up 31 points and a half, and they should not be giving up 48 points in a game. This was an embarrassing performance by the defense. And yeah, it reflects extremely poorly on the coaching staff. And I don't think the Jets are making any kind of midseason coaching changes. I don't think they're firing Steve Wilks tomorrow. But I think when Aaron Glenn and the staff are looking at changes they could make in the offseason, they're going to come back to this game very quickly and say, man, we can't run it back with this same staff next year. We just can't do it.
Even if they're great next week, I mean, this will overrule that.
And it's
some
2
quick
weeks in a
tankathon
row.
updates, by the way, because the Commanders won. The Jets are now number 5 in the draft order.
Yep.
Now, if the Saints lose, they'll get bumped back down to 6. If the Saints win, they'll stick at 5. They're behind right now the Giants, the Raiders, the Titans, and the Browns.
Call me crazy. That's a winnable game for New Orleans. I know Carolina is currently leading that division. That is a winnable game for the Saints.
It's eminently winnable. Now, here are 3 things I think about the Jets defense, because they're the stars of this game, ironically.
Yeah, the lowlights.
We mentioned this before. I didn't realize just how scheme-specific everyone on that, of like the holdovers, is to Saleh. Because they were all working under Saleh, and then they go to Glenn and a part is Glenn and Wilks. I don't like their scheme creatively. Another thing that I'm realizing is, or at least I've maybe thought this about why it just looks so plain and there's no havoc, there's no turnovers, or no interceptions at least.
Still no interceptions, by the way. They tied the NFL record for the longest drought without interceptions. 14 games consecutive without an interception.
I would say Jags got 3 in this game. I would say
2 of them were wild too. 2 of them probably were ridiculous picks. 2 of them were not, like, one of them was just a gift. The other 2 were very impressive plays by the defensive back.
Especially the first one at the end of the first half.
And the last one was too. Arian.
Arian Smith's done.
I'm gonna have an Arian Smith ran at some point. What a horrific pick that was.
Yeah, he's done.
The entire NFL,
he is done.
The entire NFL knew this guy was not an NFL player except the Jets, and the Jets decided to use a 4th round pick on him. That is awful.
Well, the fact Isaiah Williams was better as a receiver immediately, I think that tells you all
Arian Smith checked into the game for the first time on offense with 4 minutes to go in a 48-20 Week 15 game,
and he still made a mistake.
And you know what he proceeded to do? He proceeded to whiff on a block on a screen pass. That was the first thing he did. Second chance he got, he dropped the catchable pass. Third chance he got, didn't make a play on a ball that was intercepted. That's horrific. Get this guy off the team. He is not an NFL player, and he will not be on the roster next year.
Him and Barron, I don't think are going to be on the.
I don't think Barron's on the roster next year. I think there's a decent chance Maui Noah's not on the roster.
I think he is.
As a chance. I don't think he's been good this year. He's a 5th round linebacker, but the day 3 picks.
More will be.
Yeah, more will be. I don't know if he's a starter, but I think he might be.
But I think one thing that I'm thinking about this defense is, I think after they got ripped apart early in the year, I think Glenn and Wilks said, let's not do as many crazy different alignments. Let's just make sure everybody, we'd rather give up a big play because it's a vanilla play call and they just found a hole in it than because somebody ran the wrong way and got confused and ran open. So I get that, but then you also just run the same 5 or 6 plays all the time, and it looks incredibly basic. The other thing, though, too, is the secondary is going to be ripped apart. I want to kind of absolve them because, it's undrafted guys, and it's Brandon Stevens and Malachi Moore and a bunch of guys that aren't even going to be here next year. The problem is Aaron Glenn from Detroit, his whole thing is based on a ton of man, and we need to get pressure with our front 4. And in Detroit, even with Aiden Hutchinson not really having that great second edge, they had Aiden Hutchinson and Alim McNeil and a bunch of good guys inside. They were able to do that. They just can't do that with the Jets. And philosophically, there's nothing wrong with that philosophy of playing a ton of man and hoping your front 4 get them. A lot of great teams do that. So it's not like Glenn is just this dinosaur in terms of football thinking. But, man, Jermaine Johnson, look, we like what he brings to the team emotionally. We think he's a good player. You got to be better than this. Will McDonald, you got to be 10 times better than this. None of the backups are NFL caliber. Michael Clemens has been okay lately, but he's not a guy you want as your number 1 backup edge. No. Tyler Barron is as little an NFL player as Arian Smith, I would argue, maybe even less so. The pass rush, I think, is where a lot of this stems from. I think if they go heavy there in the draft, sign a guy in the offseason, I think just those additions alone make everybody so much better. Because right now, I'm happy, not happy, but I think Trevor Lawrence having a 6 touchdown game is, I think, needed, because I think he's had a little bit of bad luck this year. But he was barely under pressure the entire game. I think he got hit once. He didn't get sacked ever.
Yeah.
So no wonder no wonder Jacoby Myers was getting open whenever he wanted. He has all day to throw, even when they're blitzing.
Yeah, I agree that I think the front seven deserves more blame than the secondary. I mean, by the end of that game, they were playing Dean Clark at safety and Jordan Clark at nickel corner. That's two undrafted rookie players starting in their secondary. Also, Quantez Stiggers down to a guy who was their fifth corner, I believe, entering the year. They don't have, obviously, a trade away Sauce, trade away Michael Carter. Zaria Thomas got hurt. Jarvis Brownlee got hurt. They're more beat up there. This is more or less, minus Quinn and Williams, the exact front seven they entered the year with, right? Outside of Quinn and Williams, and I would argue right now, of their entire front seven, defensive tackle is easily their biggest strength. So I'm not even sure that they're missing Quinn.
Even amid all these struggles, Phillips is a great run stuffer, and Briggs has been a hell of a find for Muji.
I was looking at some early PFF stuff here. Ready? This is possible to change. I think Quincy Williams had maybe the worst game coverage I've ever seen from a linebacker. This is unbelievable stats. PFF, as of right now, credited him with being targeted 6 times in coverage. He allowed 6 catches for 120 yards.
Oh, my God.
And Mike, 4 touchdowns.
No.
They have been credited with allowing 4 touchdowns.
The ETN screen, does that count as him?
Probably, yeah. Yep. Yeah, he was the nearest guy.
There was that. Then the ETN one was like that little wheel route on the sideline. Great throw, by the way, on that.
The one over the middle of the field as well. The one over, it was like the 5-yard with like a little angle.
Was it Myers or who caught that? Or
Brian Thomas, I think.
Oh, there's so many of them. They all blur together.
They all PFF has him credited with allowing 120 yards on 6 catches on 6 targets for 4 touchdowns.
That's unbelievable.
That is stupid. Like that is if the Jets benched him after that, I wouldn't even blame them.
I like
embarrassing.
They've already benched him.
As an NFL linebacker, as an NFL player, that can't happen. That is just an embarrassing performance. Probably the worst game of his entire career. Just absolutely
against his old team, by the way.
Yeah. Well, talk about a revenge game here. Quincy Williams, worst game of his career against his former team.
Colin Saunders got ejected.
That's what I was going to say. Colin Saunders against his former team gets ejected. What did Chuma Edoga do? He came into the end of that game.
Okay, so yeah, the Thomas, the first one. And yeah, Lawrence ran one in. That wasn't him. Tootin had the touchdown catch. That was the other one.
Tootin, that's what it was. Tootin on the angle route. And there should have been another one, Mike. That's what's funny about this is the Jags ended up settling for 3 on a play where Brenton Strange was wide open over the middle of the field. And Trevor, I think Lawrence felt bad. So he passed up.
He should have 7 touchdowns in this game.
He should have. Instead, he airmailed it into the stands and drilled a woman in the face. That was wild.
I remember Chuck Knobloch did that with Keith Olbermann's mom once. He got the yips. Like, so at second base, he would literally make 30 errors because he couldn't throw to first. He'd throw it 3 feet over the guy's head. He'd throw it into the dugout. Yeah. And one time he just literally, it's second to first. He double clutches. He throws it 10 feet over the guy's head and he hits Keith Olbermann's mom in the face.
My God.
At a game. That's what we got right here.
Yeah. That was an embarrassing performance could get for the defense. And yeah, I mean, it's Wilks, but it's also, you have to completely remake your linebacker room. Sherwood's not going to be on the roster in 2027. I feel fairly confident saying that, but he's going to be here next year. Get a bigger guy to be next to him, whether that's somebody in a draft.
Sherwood definitely feels like a guy where it's like, okay, it can't be this bad every single year.
Hope.
Quincy, I think, just might be cooked outside of Robert Saleh's defense.
I agree. I think if you get a bigger guy next to Sherwood, ideally he plays Will and he's not playing Mike because he's just too small to play the Mike, clearly. And you get somebody else who can eat up those blocks more than he can because he just gets washed out of plays all the time. I think he's a very good tackler. I think when he's lines up a guy, he can make the tackle. He just gets blocked out in run defense a lot. And his coverage has just taken a huge step back this season. But you get somebody else in there for Quincy. You have to completely remake this D-line. Like add a couple of guys in there. I would trade Will McDonald in the offseason, Mike. I would have traded him at the deadline.
I'd probably keep him as like a backup guy for next year, just as like a speed rusher guy.
If somebody's giving you a third for him, which I don't know if somebody is, but
then I'd do that, yeah. But I don't think anybody would be.
Well, at the deadline, it sounded like they were asking for a 2, which they were never going to get that. If they were even getting 3s as an offer, they should have taken it. The fact, my low-key, I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory, but you know how we heard all the smoke around Jermaine at the trade deadline, but not much about Will McDonald?
Yep.
And the report was, they're listening to offers on Jermaine. I just think that's because teams were calling about Jermaine and they were not calling about Will McDonald. I don't think it's because the Jets were more open to moving Jermaine Johnson than Will McDonald. I just think teams were not calling about Will McDonald. I think teams kind of see him for what he is, and they see and understand his liabilities as a player and how hot and cold he is as a rusher. And it's just, his value is very limited. Like I think if you make him a third edge rusher and he's playing 35% of snaps, maybe, maybe he can still be a valuable player. I think he can. The other liabilities, you can't be as bad as he is as a run defender and as a tackler. Because even when he's getting pressure on quarterbacks, how many sacks does he miss? Because he just can't bring the guy down, because he over pursues, or because he arm tackles, or because he's 210 pounds. Like, it's just, it's as we've said, it feels like the word of the year. It's untenable. It really is.
Saints, by the way, went 3-and-out, and the Panthers just scored. So
awesome.
Not good for the tank. I'm looking at free agent linebackers. I mean, Caden Ellis might be good. Alex Anzalone.
Leo Chanel is the dream. I just don't expect him.
Devin Lloyd's not shaken free.
Chanel is the dream. Like, Chanel is everything they need in a linebacker.
Devin Bush. I don't know.
He's small too, Devin Bush, no?
I think he's a little bigger. Quay Walker.
Yeah. Quay Walker, we looked this up. Quay Walker, I think I'd be more okay with. I don't know. I actually don't even know how good he's been this year.
I think Caden Ellis is like one of PFF's best coverage guys too.
Sure, and he's a vet. He's 30 years old or something like that. You want to bring him in? I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I believe he overlapped a little bit with Aaron Glenn in New Orleans.
Yes, he did.
Right at the beginning. So
I know a lot of people are going to say Anzalone. I wouldn't mind it. I'd rather get a Mike in there. Like, if you bring in Anzalone,
even if you play Anzalone out of position, it's better than Quincy.
Probably is. Anzalone obviously has the ties to Detroit, and I think Anzalone would very quickly become a fan favorite with the Jets. He's an awesome dude and a very good football player. It wouldn't be my first choice, I think, but I can see them going that route. It would make a ton of sense. The dream for me is either Leo Chanel, or you get a guy like a CJ. Sonny Styles, I think, is
CJ Allen's not that big either, though.
He's big enough, and he plays physical. He's a physical guy, CJ Allen.
Well, so Sherwood played physical, but there's always CJ Allen's 6'1", 235. I don't know.
That's bigger than Sherwood's, like 220. That's bigger than Sherwood.
But that was always the rap, like, oh, he plays physical.
Yeah. I would.
Hill could be good, but he just is a liability in coverage. Is the thing.
He's like a day two guy. Like, that's, if you get him like late with a Cowboy second round pick, I would not be opposed to that at all.
I know we're trying to find this mythical linebacker who's both huge and good in coverage and stops the run. Like, obviously that would help, but
Sonny Styles, but they're just, I just don't think they get him. I think
especially if they got to trade up, you're probably trading the Colts pick.
Right. At this point, they would have to get Styles with. I mean, the Colts pick is going to be pretty high. If they trade up for a quarterback, they're probably not getting him. If they do, or if they don't, maybe the dream is, if they're not getting a quarterback this year, which I think is absolutely still on the table, maybe the dream is you get Jordan Tyson or whoever, or Cornell Tate, if you're worried about Tyson's injury stuff. Tate with your first pick, and then you go back and get two.
I feel like you got it.
You go back Ohio State guys, Cornell Tate.
Are you going to roll with this? This team's going to go 3-14 or 4-13, and then you're going to go Marcus Mariota and then punt again.
Well, not to reignite the quarterback thing,
That's
Mike.
Tough
if Dante Moore goes back to school and the Raiders get the first overall pick, genuinely, what the fuck do they do?
Kyler probably.
Maybe, but then you're not trading up for a quarterback. Like, so I'm saying, I think there's absolutely a very strong possibility that this team is not trading up for a quarterback, because I firmly expect the Raiders. Well, I'll say this too. I still expect the Raiders to get the first overall pick, but one of their games just might have become a lot more winnable because they play the Chiefs in the final game of the season.
Oh, Gardner Minshew.
Which now it's looking like that's probably going to be Gardner Minshew and a Chiefs team that has nothing to play for. So that's all of a sudden a winnable game for Vegas. Now it's still the Raiders. They're still awful. I would not expect them to win that game, but it's a winnable game. We really want them to beat the Giants. That's the big one.
Think about how much money Netflix just lost on that Christmas game now that Mahomes isn't going to play in that.
Oh, yeah. Wait, who is it? Chiefs versus who?
Broncos.
Oh.
Think about how much money they all the things they had pre-rendered for that game about Mahomes that just went into vanished.
That is.
Oh, those poor guys.
Yeah.
Let's go into the comments really quick because we got a lot of them. Keep commenting. We'll try to get to as much of them as we can. Brandon R says, is there any reason to watch the remainder of the season?
Yeah.
Brian Sternbeck, if you enjoy punting, sure. Not even. They went for
Not
it.
even that. Yeah. McNamara actually had a bad punt today. It was bad. It was honestly, I mean, look, they should have had a punt return touchdown. It was a bullshit penalty that got called back, and Nick Folk was still perfect. But the kick coverage team, they allowed a couple of long returns. It was very uncharacteristic of the Jets special teams tonight or today. But reasons to watch, we could have the Brady Cook combo if you want. I didn't think Cook was that bad.
And Mitchell had some plays today.
And Mitchell absolutely looks like an NFL wide receiver, and I think he's got a real chance to be wide receiver 3 on this roster next year. Other than that, not a ton much. I would like to see Mason Taylor come back and hopefully get some nice action over the final
Mitchell's
2 games
already
of the year.
had half of the receiving yards he had with the Colts.
Dude, is there a chance? I have no idea what the numbers are. Is there a chance Mitchell leads the team in receiving at the end of the year? I think there is.
Well,
Surely.
let's see here.
Who right now leads them? Is it still Garrett?
I think it's still Mason Taylor has the most catches.
Yeah, I know, but I think in receiving yards, I believe it's still
in
Garrett
terms of
Wilson.
yards, let's do some live research here.
Assuming Garrett Wilson does not play another game this year, which there's a very real chance.
Garrett is leading with 395 yards.
So what's Mitchell got after today? 395 is their leading receiver.
Well, Brees has 309, so he might be.
He's in the mix too.
Mason Taylor might play soon, so if he does, that'll probably be.
But what's
Mitchell is fourth on the team in receiving yards. He's now ahead of Tyler Johnson.
That's including today?
That's including today.
Well, he's now ahead of a guy who's been a healthy scratch consecutive weeks. That's great.
So he's behind Garrett, Mason, and Brees. So he's second among wide receivers in receiving yards, and he's played 5 games.
What's he got? How many yards?
Well, it's 178 he came in with. What do you have today? Like 70 or something?
He had about 70 today. So that's 140.
240 something.
240 something. All right. I mean, that's actually extremely.
The Jets may not have anybody get to 500 yards this year receiving.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
That's unbelievable.
That's, you know what it's like. We're gonna look back on this year like the Travis Fulgham year where he led the Eagles in receiving. But even I think
Carson went through for 4,000 yards that year.
I think Fulgham even went for like 600 yards that season. It was more than 400. I'll tell you that.
The Jets also just passed 2,000 passing yards on the year.
Whoa! Wow! Credit to the Jets. Shout out the Jets for that.
They do have 9 guys with over 100 yards receiving.
I feel like that's normal.
Actually, 10 now. So.
Wait, can I guess? Who was the 10th that just did it today? Wait, was Ruckert not over 100 before today?
It's the 5 we just mentioned, obviously. So they're already.
So we're going to throw in John Mechie is also there. He's also 100. Lazard, is he over 100 yet? Okay. It's been on the roster all year, not over 100. Isaiah Williams, did he get over 100 yet?
He's over now.
Awesome, good for him. Ruckert?
Ruckert, yep.
Okay.
There's 2 more.
It's Isaiah Davis, he gets 100?
Yeah, Isaiah Davis.
Wow, what's he at?
118.
Oh my God. Are there any other guys not on the team anymore?
Well, he's on IR. Josh Reynolds.
Josh Reynolds.
101 even.
You know what, Mike? I could have sat here for 20 minutes. I forgot Josh Reynolds existed. I'm not gonna lie.
Him and Andre Cisco just came and went.
Forgotten players. Wait, who was the last one then?
Reynolds. That's 10.
Oh, Reynolds was 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's go with slow runner, $15 million a year for Sherwood. And the guy only makes tackles 10 yards down the field and can't cover.
Yeah, it's not.
But last year he didn't. So I'm honestly willing to believe with Sherwood, as terrible as he's been this year, straight up terrible.
Yeah, I think he's been
after he got paid. I really do believe that this might just be he's in a scheme that's awful for him, and if you get a new coordinator who kind of fixes him, he could figure it out. Because again, he was really good last year with Saleh. Quincy, I think, might just be a loss because he's getting older too. Like I think he might just be. His time in New York is done.
Yeah, I agree that I'm a little more willing to be like Sherwood could get better. I think a lot of people, Jets fans, Jets content creators, have been like killing him this year, and some of it's valid. Like some of it is absolutely fair.
Especially after that contract.
Yeah, that's a big part of it is the contract. He's playing, I think, in a scheme that really doesn't suit him, and he's just had a bad year. I still, like I said before, I don't think he's on the roster in 2027. I think he'd have to do a lot next year to prove that he should stick around at the salary that he is currently making. I mean, because he's a top 5 highest paid off-ball linebacker in football right now.
And they got to pay another one probably in the offseason.
Yeah, unless they draft someone. But yeah, like that, he's going to have to do a lot to stick around.
Sherwood and a rookie seems like a problem.
But I think he'll be better next year. I do, but I still don't think he's on the roster in 2027.
Phillip Rivers update, by the way. It's 3-3 at the end of the first quarter, but he is 3 of 8 for 31 yards. Old man Rivers.
Look, man, it's in Seattle against the Seahawks.
Did you see how fat he got too?
Yeah, he's chunky. He's.
I remember on certain plays that year with the Colts, like if they were running a stretch play to the outside, they would put Jacoby Brissett in because he couldn't run to the outside quick enough to get the ball in.
He looks like shout out RIP, right? Jared Lorenzen. RIP.
Yeah.
RIP. Yeah.
This just goes to show you, like, as the Jets are looking for quarterbacks, if you just have like an insane processing brain and you're accurate, you can play forever, literally forever.
Yeah.
You could be coaching the old ball coach in high school in Alabama for 5 years. And I think Rivers and Brady Cook are probably similar level players right now.
Tim Boyle and Brett Rippon are going to be competing for a practice squad spot in 5 years somewhere. It's going to be happening.
Poor Brett Rippon, man.
And Riley Leonard. Imagine being Riley Leonard.
Wasn't he hurt, though?
No, he was off the injury report. He was not even on the injury report.
Wow. Why even take him if you're going to do that?
He was not given an injury designation.
You think it's because it's a play? Like, if they were 5-8, would Leonard be playing?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, they wouldn't give a shit to sign, Rivers, but they clearly don't.
Poor Anthony Richardson. You're not going to get a better chance to.
Dude, but there's there's a world where Anthony Richardson is their week 1 starter next year. Because
Oh.
there was a report that came out that the Colts are unlikely to bring back Jones. That was the report.
What if the Jets trade for him and just do Justin Fields again, but worse?
You know what, Mike? That's going to be a conversation. I know you joke, and I'm not saying that's a good idea. I don't think they should do that, probably, depending on what his market is, I guess. But it's going to be a conversation because the quarterback market is going to be so scarce. And if the Colts are not bringing back Jones, it's going to be a combo. It's going to be a combo.
I will say Anthony Richardson has had, honestly, like, he's painfully inaccurate, but some of, like, the highlight reel throws, like, he's got it, and he's bigger and faster. I don't know. Somebody's going to hook themselves on that opiate. I don't know if it'll be the Jets. Brian Glick, I was close to my 42-0 prediction. You were.
You actually were. I think we laughed a little bit, but yeah, you were.
Vinicius Cristello, CJ Mosley was underappreciated. We missed the tackling and football IQ.
I agree. They could really use an enforcer type linebacker like Mosley in this defense right now. Like look, we did our Phillip Rivers inspired draft last week, which, by the way, very funny that we didn't think to draft Aaron Glenn as like a player coach.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The day after that, Glenn made a joke about that.
Aaron Glenn might be better than Jordan Clark, like, right now.
I think he's better than Quantez Stiggers.
As a gunner, Stiggers is great. But
I think if Glenn was out there, they might have had a pick this year. I'll say that. Glenn had a nose for the ball.
Glenn was a turnover guy, man.
Yeah.
You'd think being a turnover creator, too. But with the funny thing, again, Detroit last year, same exact scheme.
Yep.
They turned the ball over a lot. And even the last year Wilks played, they had a lot of turnover. Wilks coordinated. Brian Sternbeck, this was the rare game where the box score does tell the full story of the game. And then Brian Glick, they should leave Wilks in Jacksonville to get home on his own. They should Lane Kiffin him, leave him at the tarmac.
They're not gonna. I think they move on after the season is over at this point. It's just
what do you gain by firing him now, kind of thing?
It was trending up for a bit, and then especially the last 2 weeks have just been really bad. Like, just really bad performance of a defense where you don't even give your team a chance. Like, your offense is already playing shorthanded. You have an undrafted rookie at quarterback.
Has Brady Cook played a snap when, like, the game's in hand?
Not really.
Barely.
He really hasn't. And so you can't have that kind of defensive malpractice. I don't think they're not going to fire him midseason, but I do think they move on after the year. And then we have some discussions about who the new DC is. So that's fun.
So let's go to Brian Sternbeck. Cook played like the practice squad quarterback we thought he was. Mitchell and Williams made plays, but the passing offense didn't even work when the Jets were throwing their way back into it.
Yeah,
that's a personnel thing. I think Engstrom got as much juice out of this squeeze as he possibly could.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought Cook was good. Like you said, the first half was very good for him. He made really 2 big mistakes in this game, and it's just unfortunate they both resulted in interceptions. You know, again, if that's a quarterback playing the Jets, one of those probably is definitely not a pick. But the one, you know, he was late on the out route there to Adonai Mitchell and threw it too far inside, and that got picked. It was a crazy play by the DB, that first interception. And the second one was, I guess I want to call it a miscommunication with Lazard, but it's a ball that also just should never be thrown. He just lobbed it up there in the end zone in double coverage. That ball should not be thrown. The third one, that's Arian Smith, man.
That's him, yeah.
It's also like the end of the game. Who cares? He's forcing into a tight window. It's a tight window throw.
I just don't want to get too excited about a guy with 5 picks in 2 games.
I'm not excited about him. I think, like, my take would be, I think he looks like I would like to start him the rest of the year. If I have any takeaway from watching Brady Cook this game, I don't think you're losing much by starting him over Tyrod Taylor. I really don't think it's that much of a difference, to be honest.
I think it is.
I don't think it's that significant. I don't think the offense functioned much worse with Brady Cook than Tyrod. You think if Tyrod's playing this game, they score more than 20? I really don't.
I don't think they turn it over 3 times.
Tyrod is absolutely prone to turnovers. I still don't think
he turns it over in this game against this team.
Once again, one of those interceptions I don't think was his fault. The other one was a bad throw that in most cases is not intercepted. So I don't want to get too much on him for the interceptions, because I just don't think, like, there's a lot of times where I've seen Fields or Taylor have plays like that just that did not result in takeaways. I don't think he's good, but I would like to see him probably start the rest of the way. I think in
an evaluation sense or a tank sense?
An evaluation sense of, hey, can this guy compete for the backup job next year? Like that's my thinking.
Tyrod is towards no on that.
Tyrod is not going to be on the team next year. I don't think starting Brady Cook in this game hurt your evaluation of your skill players. Adonai Mitchell still got plenty of targets. Mechie still got targets. I really don't think, like, the issue was the defense. Obviously the takeaways suck, but the offense was able to function. It functioned more than it did. Again, low bar here, but it functioned more than it did for like half of field starts this year. It's an extremely low bar, but I really don't think there's a huge gap in terms of the production you're getting from Taylor versus Cook at this
Who's
stage.
better right now, Brady Cook or Justin Fields?
It's Fields, but like this year, man, this was a horrific.
Only this year. I don't know.
You argue it's Cook. Like Fields was just unplayable for 3 games or four, or at least 4 games this year.
Brian Glick, vanilla is offended you compare the Jets defense to it. Vanilla has way more flavor and excitement. I agree as a hardcore vanilla guy over chocolate because you can get the Reese's peanut butter cups and mix it in unlike a DQ Blizzard. I agree.
I've always been a chocolate guy, but as I've gotten older, I feel like I've matured into more of like I'm still chocolate first, but vanilla, when I get like one of those black and white cookies, vanilla's my favorite part. And I feel like
your favorite of the 2 parts?
Yeah, it's my favorite part. It's the better.
It's like you ever try and like eat like really sour candy nowadays? You're like, oh my god, what is that shit?
Like,
how did I eat that ever?
It's like this killed half of my brain cells when I was a kid.
You ever eat a warhead past the age of like 9? You're like, oh my god.
I don't want to. Well, there was a time in my life where I was just like, yeah, give me all like when I was a child, I was a kid. I was like, oh yeah, chocolate this, chocolate that. Can never have too much chocolate. Now I'm like, man, it's a little too much. It's a little too rich. A little too much.
You ever have a Mountain Dew flavor that isn't like the regular one? You're like, what is in this thing? Like
just
crack?
Jesus,
so sugary and strong.
What is this? Sugary fent? What is it?
Jeez. Brian Sternbeck. The throwback one with the real sugar is very good. Brian Sternbeck. The Jaguars ran 56 plays in this game, excluding kneel downs. They gained at least 4 yards or a touchdown on 43 of them.
Oh.
That is
talk about success rate.
Unbelievable.
Talk about success rate. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
It's embarrassing. I mean,
43.
And
I bet you 3 of them came on that one drive where they just punted immediately with the
with Nick Mullins at quarterback.
No, like right at the I think it was like the 3rd drive they had where they had to punt from like their own 2.
Oh yeah, because they were pinned back.
There was that, and then Nick Mullins drive.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even want to check the 3rd down stats. Look, probably not even that bad because the Jaguars are very rarely in 3rd down.
It passed the eye test though too, because like just every single play, man. Like it felt like they could do whatever they wanted. On 3rd down, they were
7.4 yards per play.
Yeah.
Wow, the Jets actually won the time of possession battle, if you could believe it.
And they were better on 3rd down.
The Jags scored 48 points and had the ball for 27 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Only 4 of 9 on 3rd down because they were very rarely in 3rd down.
Yeah. Jets actually had more rushing yards and averaged more yards per rush too. But there you go. No sacks. PFF crediting, by the way, 1 or 2 QB hits for the Jets. Who else got a hit? Oh, Jawan Briggs got a hit as well as McDonald.
What do you want, a cookie?
Jeez. Jawan Briggs, by the way, 3 more pressures. Another game with 3 pressures for him.
He's not his fault, man.
Didn't even feel like it though. Will McDonald had 4 pressures, but had a pass rush grade of 51.9, and I actually agree with that. I do not think that he had one. There was one drive where Will McDonald woke up, which just happens. He had the hit on Trevor Lawrence, and then he drew the holding penalty. That was on the same drive, I'm pretty sure. I've never seen a pass rusher this streaky in my entire football career. He's a 3-point shooter. That's what he is. He is the Duncan Robinson of the NFL.
But when was the last defensive end with that sort of style? It's crazy.
I can't remember one on the Jets. I'm sure there have been, but
slow runner. Arian Smith is atrocious. You won't hear any complaints from me about that.
Not an NFL player. Should never have been an NFL player. Or at least should not have been a draft pick, let alone a 4th round pick. Horrible pick. That one makes me mad. And then as Philibonga says, man, look, I'll take my victory laps. I've been taking them every year at this point, but I was so much on the draft.
How would JSN be doing in these offenses though?
Mike, shut up. Don't do that bullshit. Don't you dare. If the Jets had JSN and Garrett Wilson right now, they would have arguably the best wide receiver duo in the NFL, at least a top 3. I don't want to hear it. Obviously Jackson Smith-Njigba would not be leading the NFL in receiving if he was on the Jets, but he'd still be an awesome football player, and you'd have 2 amazing wide receivers. Instead, you have an edge rusher.
You'd have Adonai Mitchell.
Maybe you'd have Adonai Mitchell. And guess what? If you don't do that, maybe you re-sign Bryce Huff, and Bryce Huff I think is better than Will McDonald. In fact, I know he's better than Will McDonald. Or maybe you don't get rid of it. Or maybe even more importantly, you don't get rid of John Franklin Myers, because I'd rather have John Franklin Myers in this team than both of those guys.
Bryce Huff has 4 sacks this year.
Cool. It's a better player than Will McDonald. But again,
PFF? I'm not like trying to prove it. Wow, his PFF's actually pretty good. Okay.
Yeah, man, he's a really good football player.
Run defense is bad, but we knew that.
It's bad, but you know what? It's better than
Will McDonald.
Better than the worst in football. That's the bar here. But again, even I would rather just have John Franklin Myers than both of those guys.
Brian Sternbeck, reminder: Joe Douglas did not have a first-round grade on any receiver in the 2023 draft, and then had Malachi Corley as his fourth best wide receiver.
Didn't have a first-round grade on Jackson Smith-Njigba. And he had Malachi Corley ahead of Brian Thomas.
Who else went receiver-wise that year?
2023? That would have been...
That was Smith-Njigba. Okay, Quentin Johnston. That was... Yeah.
Well, you know what? Shout out Quentin Johnston. He's a useful player.
Herbert, I think.
Well, I think he's become a useful NFL player. Obviously, he's a bust. He was not a good first-round pick, but I think he's an NFL player.
Zay Flowers, 22. That would have been a good pick.
Yep.
Jordan Addison, 23. A little bit of got some off-field stuff.
Off-field stuff aside, good player.
On-field good.
Yep.
This was a pretty decent wide receiver draft.
Yep.
Puka Nacua, 5th round. But I mean, it's fifth.
But instead of drafting instead of drafting a wide receiver, which the Jets desperately
Josh Downs, Michael Wilson, Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed. This was a great receiver draft.
Yep. Instead of drafting a wide receiver, though, they decided to draft a backup edge rusher who is unplayable on 75% of downs.
Did they get who was that draft in totality? Let me remember.
For the Jets?
Well, Tittman was Tittman was a good pick.
Yeah, Tittman's a good pick.
The entire reason that draft is not again McDonald, bad player, being used in a role where
I think he can be a useful NFL player, just nowhere near in the role that he's being used, nor should he be, a first-round pick.
Tittman, very good pick, and then nobody else is on the Jets. Carter Warren, Abanikanda.
Yeah, that's some.
I really thought Abanikanda was going to be a player.
Both Pitt guys.
Yeah, I really did think he was going to be a player.
He's a classic case of athlete, not a running back.
I think he's just a case of had a crazy good last year and then.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's just very fast, and the size speed was, obviously what was appealing about him, and he was so young.
Brian Sternbeck, JSN would theoretically have been starting over Randall Cobb, so Rodgers wouldn't have been waiting for him to get open on the 4th snap. Oh, brother.
Oh no.
We're still feeling the sting of that.
That
was our first ever post-game podcast, was that game. We're still feeling the ramifications.
You're actually right. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, we're still feeling it.
Will McDonald, they're drafting Will McDonald indirectly led to Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles.
Or Randall Cobb would have started over JSN anyway.
Yeah, hold on. Brian, you might be underestimating.
That's the other thing.
You might be underestimating Aaron Rodgers here. Who knows what would
And then we're going into year 2 of JSN sucks because he never played because Rodgers got pissed at him.
Maybe the Jets would have ruined JSN's career.
You see what I'm saying?
I think you're wrong.
Yeah, obviously.
I think Brian's on to something.
Obviously, he's better than Will McDonald.
I don't want to think about that now.
Brian Sternbeck, if I told you in August there'd only be 2 players on the Jets defense locked into starting roles next year, none of your first 9 guesses would have been Brandon Stevens and Jawan Briggs.
Yeah, well, it would have been Sauce and Quinnen would have been the guesses.
Yeah, and they're gone.
Quinnen would have been a guy, but I was like, okay, I wouldn't be shocked if they traded him. Sauce would have been obviously yes.
Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, and I guess I probably would have been probably Jermaine Johnson. I'd be shocked if Jermaine wasn't starting next year. Right? Well, I'd
still be shocked if he's.
Yeah, Jermaine will be starting next year.
Even if they draft a guy, they're probably going to sign a veteran. I think it's going to be veteran and Jermaine are the starters, and then draft pick and Will McDonald are the bet, which is much better than what they have now. Yeah. Because Will McDonald would be the 4th edge rusher, not the 2nd, which might be better for him.
It's a good question. Like who are your projected starters next year? Stevens is one of the starters.
Brownlee.
I don't even know, man. That's what's tough about the Brownlee and especially the AZ Thomas injury. I don't think either of them did enough to be locked in as starters next year. I
think they did.
I definitely don't.
I think the draft capital they invested in Thomas did. I think we got more good from bad than him.
Brownlee gave them 2 good games and then 2 really bad games and 1 mid game, and then he got hurt. And AZ Thomas, I thought, gave them a lot of below average games.
Especially if you're trading up, you can't have all pros everywhere.
No, I'm not saying they have to invest heavily, but I think they shouldn't go in the next. They should not go into next year with their cornerback room of Brandon Stevens, Azaria Thomas, Jarvis Brownlee, and Quantez Stiggers.
No, I think they should draft a cornerback, but I'm thinking more like day 3. If they pick a guy in the 4th round.
I wouldn't mind
be opposed to
drafting or signing a Brandon Eccles type, like a guy who could just create takeaways and be your fourth corner and maybe compete for a starting job. Like I think if you sign a guy like Eccles, is Eccles actually low key? Is Eccles a free agent? Because I would 100% just bring him back. Because I think Eccles
Is he even playing a lot? Or
yeah, he's been playing a good amount for the Steelers this year.
I think the best way. Let me reframe it like this: they should go into the starting secondary should go into next year as the starting secondary, but I think both of them need depth additions to push them.
I think if the Jets are in a position in the draft where they really like one of the corners that fall to them, I think you take them. I wouldn't be opposed to taking.
So then what? Then you're already. If you pick an outside corner, Azaria is just already done again.
Was that not the thought when you drafted him anyway?
Well, yeah, but then you traded Sauce, so then this is the opportunity, and then you gave him like 3 games, and then it's already done.
Well, I'm not saying first round, but I'm saying you're sitting there in the second round and you love a cornerback there. I think you draft one. He competes with AZ Thomas, and if you like both of them, you move on from Stevens after 2026, which you absolutely can do with that contract.
I don't see why you do that if he's playing as well as he is.
Like, well, if he's playing well, then you don't have to. But I'm just saying those are options that you can explore.
I just think they got so. Is cornerback even in their top 5 of needs?
No, I'm not saying that's what they should do. I'm saying if they really love a corner there and they don't have any other obvious picks, I think it's something they could do.
Philibongo, 2023 is funny because that offensive line still would have gotten Rodgers killed.
Yeah, man, they just haven't lined up. But like 2024, finally, the offensive line got good, but the defense fell apart. And Rodgers.
2023, they had the defense and they had Rodgers and they had, and then just
2024, they had the offensive line. But they didn't have the quarterback because Rodgers was
or the coach or the defense
or the coach of the defense. Well, they might have had an okay-ish coach, if they didn't fire Saleh. I'm not to say that they would have made the playoffs with Saleh, but
you'd be better than Jeff Ulbrich.
Yeah, it would have been better than Ulbrich.
Vinicius Cristello, Ohio State's defense has more NFL talent than the Jets.
I can't go that far, but it's really not that crazy of a take. Like there's going to be a few players.
I don't even think the Jets have like the worst defense in the league either, though.
Well, the Bengals. Although the Bengals low-key today wasn't that bad, but
they got shut out.
They did. Yeah, the offense was more of a problem there. But
let me see what points per game. Who's the worst?
It's probably not the Jets.
Cincinnati, Dallas.
Yeah,
but Dallas got Quinnen now.
Dallas is better now. Dallas is absolutely better than the Jets defense.
The Giants.
Yeah, Giants. But that's also
Giants have more talent on.
They have more talent. Shane Bowen was a terrorist.
and these numbers aren't updated, so the Jets are probably going to pass them after this.
Yeah.
I mean, who do you think? Again, I asked you this last year. Who would win if they played tomorrow? The Jets or the Giants?
Giants should. They should. I think the Giants do. The Jets.
I mean, with Tyrod, not Brady Cook.
I still think the Giants win. I don't think it changes much. I don't know if they will because the Giants just have a knack for shooting themselves in the foot and finding ways to lose. And you know what?
The head like the Jets.
The big difference in that game, if it's close, man, the Giants special team sucks, and the Jets have the best special teams in football. So that's you have to take that into account.
That's the reason the Jets aren't the worst team in New York is Chris Banjo.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Brian Sternbeck, Jets can't bring Eccles back. He'd have too many interceptions.
Yeah, not allowed. Not allowed.
Philosophically, it's part of it's right on the front of the locker room. No picks.
I'm shocked they traded Sauce. That must have been hard to let him go. He's the king of no interceptions.
Yeah. At least Sauce locks down people. Quantez Stiggers does not.
Yeah, it's true.
And then Quantez Stiggers Sauce, got hurt, which man, I feel bad for him. I really feel bad for him.
I feel bad for the Colts. I would feel worse if the Jets didn't have their pick, but I feel bad for the Colts. There's what a disaster.
Like Sauce, finally I get to compete, and then
I know.
And now he's hurt, and they're starting a 44-year-old coach who actually is driving down the field.
Is he really?
He's only 3 of 9 for 31 yards, but I think there's a penalty in Jonathan Taylor and stuff like that.
People are saying Rivers fell funny. What happened?
He did that a lot.
I guess.
It reminded me. Remember Peyton's last year with the Broncos, where if a guy even got in the pocket, he just fall down.
Yeah. Well, what do you expect from Rivers? That should be expected.
Couldn't move before. Imagine now.
Oh my goodness.
Brian Sternbeck, DJ Reed just got bobbleheaded burned by Puka Nacua.
How's Reed been this year? Has he been bad?
Up and down.
Okay. I haven't paid too much attention.
Better than most Jets cornerbacks, worse than he was with the Jets.
So you got a pick?
He
has 2 picks. There you go. Fine.
So yeah.
Yeah, he missed some time. He's been all right. He's had 2 really bad games, it looks like, just looking at PFF stuff. But outside of those two games, well, I'll say this. I shouldn't look
29. It feels like
I shouldn't look at the coverage
forever.
grades as much. Last week, week 14, he was targeted 13 times and allowed 9 catches for 130 yards. But he had a pick and he had a 63 PFF grade, which is like, or PFF coverage grade. So I'm curious about how that game went. If you're allowing 9 catches, surely it couldn't have been a good game. But it doesn't sound like it was. It wasn't Quincy Williams, week 15.
There's all those screenshots that get thrown around where it's like thrown at, yards allowed. Like I remember Ronald Darby had one for the Eagles because he had like 200 yards in a game. Philip Gaines, if you remember that one.
Yeah, Philip Gaines. What happened to Philip Gaines?
I think that game happened and then he just quit. I remember Byron Maxwell had a similar one when Julio Jones cooked him. If you remember that.
Yeah, Byron Maxwell.
If they put that, I mean, this is worse than those. 4 touchdowns on 6 targets.
4 touchdowns is crazy.
How many yards?
120, I think it was.
120. Jesus. How do you do that? You ever see that meme of Kyle Shanahan looking at a microscope and it has like a linebacker in it? Like the linebacker the Niners are playing next week?
I have not. But that, yeah.
Yeah, I think Stephen Ruiz used to post it. It was Shanahan just like.
Is that Kellen Moore looking at Quincy Williams?
Well, it was Liam Cohen looking at Quincy
Williams
Williams this week.
Yeah.
We need to wait for Kellen Moore. I mean, we got treated to treated, quote unquote.
By the way,
what's driving, by the way.
I was going to say, what's going on in that game?
Shuck is 7 of 10 for 73 yards.
Go, Tyler. Unfortunately,
I think the Browns are taking a quarterback.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. Unfortunately, I don't think our Shedeur Sanders stock is going to go well here.
So I think if this draft order holds, which actually it won't because Giants Raiders, one of them is going to have to.
Yeah.
But let's just say if hypothetically it holds. I think the only way to get Mendoza is to trade with the Giants, and the only way to get more, I think, is to trade with the Titans. Yeah.
Well, the unfortunate part is I don't know why, unless you're just giving the Giants a massive haul, because the Raiders are going to be trying to trade up for a quarterback too, obviously, especially if the Jets are.
There are 2. Do you go from 2 to 1?
Yes, because if the Jets are trying to trade ahead of you for the guy you want, absolutely, you move up 1 spot, and they don't have to give up much. They can give up a 2nd-round pick, and the Giants. If you're the Giants, why don't you do that? If you're the Giants, why don't you take the 2nd-round pick, fall down to 2, and then maybe fall down again? But you pick up a free 2nd-round pick.
I remember the Bears did that with Mitch Trubisky, and it didn't work out. They went from like 3 to 2, I think.
Well, yeah, okay. What does that have to do with?
I'm just saying that's just because Mitch Trubisky was bad. Precedent of history here.
It's not that the trade was bad; it's that Mitch Trubisky was bad. Like the trade wasn't the problem with that. Just like moving up from 2 to 1, you absolutely do that. If you want Mendoza and the Jets are trying to trade up ahead of you to 1, yeah, you absolutely offer to trade up to 1 so you can get your guy.
Brian Sternbeck, I think we've reached the point in the season where draft stakes are clearly defined. We should be rooting for losses.
Yeah, I agree. The only one that I'll take solace in a win would be over Buffalo if it cost them a playoff spot. But after today, it's probably not gonna. They beat the Patriots,
and it's always fun to beat the Patriots. I don't care when.
Yeah, I don't care, man. I still don't want it. Just like that last game against the Patriots and in Belichick's last game, they should have lost that game. I wish they did. If they lose that game, I really don't think the Patriots have Drake May. Like, I know that the Patriots still could have. What was the order with that? They would have
had 4.
Yeah,
and the Cardinals would have had 3, which the Cardinals would have taken Marvin Harrison.
No, but the problem was the Giants wanted to trade up, and they couldn't trade up because the Patriots had that pick. But the Giants could have traded up with the Cardinals if the Patriots didn't have that pick.
That's it's a hypothetical. More likely the Cardinals take Harrison than we heard.
I wouldn't say that's more likely. I think the Giants were desperate for Drake May. They were so desperate for Drake May. They did reporting at the time. I remember it being the Giants did, because every Giants reporter was trying to like be apologists for them. And they're like, they did everything they could to get Drake May. Patriots wouldn't budge. So I think if the Cardinals had that pick, the Giants end up, which in that case,
like it came from the desk of Joe Shane, that one.
Maybe, which in that case, the Giants end up with Drake May. And I'm not sure how Jets fans feel about that, but I would rather the Giants have Drake May than the Patriots.
I always feel skeptical whenever I hear anytime a GM leaks something or like they get fired and then they start talking of, actually, my plan was to take Patrick Mahomes. Then ownership said, no, you have. How many stories like that have you heard? Hugh Jackson did that a lot too.
Look, I do believe that the Giants desperately wanted Drake May. That doesn't seem far-fetched to me.
Colts are beating the Seahawks in Seattle right now, 6-3.
Well, we don't want that. We definitely don't want that. That's not good. Come on, Seattle. Lock in, Seattle.
They still wouldn't be in the playoffs if they won, though, because the Texans won today, too.
No, I know, but still, lock in. Well, we want them losing out. I want them losing every game from here on out. But Brian, I agree with you. I do want to see losses from here on out.
But I need to see enough wins from Aaron Glenn to give me confidence that when he gets a real quarterback and when he gets rid of some of the mopey Salah guys, that this can turn around.
Well, the ideal world is you lose games because of guys who are not going to be here next year or because of fluky shit.
And we saw, I think, wins that gave me encouragement that Aaron Glenn will be good once he gets actual talented piece in here. And before this game just was a tire fire. But some like Baltimore, New England, even Miami to a degree, a lot of the reasons they lost that game was because like Tony Adams messed up or things like that, which they're not going to be. So I felt fine with that. But now when it's so clearly like if you win 1 or 2 games, like you just made, they win 2 games, they just straight up will not be able to take any of the quarterbacks this year.
Yeah.
That's a little different.
I'll say this though too. Like if the Raiders end up with the first pick and Dante Moore doesn't declare, doesn't matter where the Jets pick at that point. It really, really doesn't. Because they're not going to take a quarterback at that point.
Touchdown Saints. So
Tyler Shuck?
No, Devin Neal touchdown run, but
Tyler Shuck led them there though.
He did. Yes.
He got them there.
I really don't think the Saints will take a quarterback.
No, I agree.
Unless Shuck just completely melts down.
Well, especially in this class. Like they're going to have to trade up if they want a quarterback. And why would they trade up for a
this team? Yeah.
Right. With all the needs that they have, with a young quarterback that they just took in the top 50 that they seem to like, who's playing well enough to earn another year as a starter, trading up for a quarterback would be crazy. Like that would be a wild decision.
I think it might be time to call time on this episode of the Jet Press Podcast.
It's call time, buddy.
Jets are bad. They are a little bit closer to possibly drafting a franchise quarterback.
I wouldn't bank on it.
If they want, I said they're closer, not they will. They have a better chance than they did if they won. So there's that. It seems in all likelihood that Aaron Glenn is not going to bring Steve Wilks back, because how do you bring a guy back after letting up almost 50 points and what should have been 7 touchdowns? Because Lawrence just missed one of them. He had 6. Should have had 7. I made sure to break that up. So, Justin, any final thoughts?
The Jets are bad. Defense is really bad. This was embarrassing from the defense. The bar should be higher than 31 points allowed in a half and 48 points allowed in a game. Steve Wilks, I don't know, pack your bags, my friend. This was a belt.
I don't think he gets another job ever again in the NFL after this.
Well, I don't think he gets a DC job. He'll probably be some analyst somewhere or consultant or some shit.
He's 56.
I mean, if he wants, it's only if he wants to keep coaching. But it is crazy that if he is fired after this year, that'll be 5 consecutive NFL jobs that he has had, or 5 just consecutive coaching jobs he's had where he was one and done. That's scary.
More than that, yeah. Cardinals head coach, Browns coordinator, Missouri DC. He was fired as a college DC.
He was fired, or was he?
Or he was fired.
Phew, I didn't know that.
And then Panthers, he actually was pretty decent interim coach. Niners DC, he was pretty good, but they fired him actually. And then this year, that's why I was in on him, because I'm like, look, I thought he was pretty good in San Francisco as a DC.
And guess what? You ask any Panthers fan, they love him. Panthers fan
love Steve Wilks.
Love him.
He could probably go back there and get some assistant job.
Oh, send him back to Carolina, make him an assistant DBs coach. He'd be happy.
That's what pissed, because I remember, like, I was talking, especially when the Panthers beat him. I'm like, man, like, was Steve Wilks this bad? They're like, no, we love him. I'm like, why isn't he working here? Everyone was like, I don't know. He was good when he was here. I'm like, oh, that's encouraging. He just got Jetsified, and he stinks now.
That's what happens, my friend. That's what happens. I don't know if we're going to be streaming on Wednesday, by the way, because I will sadly once again be out of town, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to make it work this week. What are you thinking, Mike? I know I shouldn't ask you live on air.
It might be more. We'll update you on that.
We'll update you on that. I shouldn't ask you live on air, but yeah, we'll see. If we're not streaming on Wednesday, don't be shocked. There's a good chance that it's not going to happen. But at this point, I feel like we're kind of repeating a lot of the same stuff anyway. But we will be streaming live after the Jets Saints game, the big tank battle, the toilet bowl next.
No, the toilet bowl is Giants Raiders.
This is the secondary toilet bowl. And isn't
there
the
bidet bowl?
The bidet bowl. Ooh, I like that. That's good off the cuff. That's good. I like the alliteration.
Or I was gonna say something about Giants Raiders, because bidet bowl does sound like Daboll, and it has like a Brian Daboll ring to it.
Oh, bidet bowl. It'd be good if he was still there though.
He had to. Damn it.
He's gone. He's
ruined it.
That's if the Giants and Bills play each other. That's the bidet bowl. Anyway.
Justin, no, we had it. We had a good thing going.
Thank you all for joining us on the Just Make It. Follow Mike on Twitter at @MyMikeandSean. Follow me on Twitter, Justin T. Fried. Follow Jet Press on the Jet Press. Download the Jet Press podcast wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok. Subscribe, like, hit that notification bell. You guys know what to do. We stream live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you. And live immediately following every single Jets game, but possibly not this Wednesday at 3 p.m. But yes, definitely after the Jets game on Sunday. Anyway,
got all that good.
Thank you all for listening to the Jet Press podcast. I've been Justin Fried. That is Mike Luciano. See you guys next time.
Hopefully they won't give up 48 points their next game. Dare we dream.